All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm giving my post-fight reaction to Taylor versus Catterall. And to tell you the truth, this was a nip and tuck fight, but a lot of people felt like Catterall won this fight. But I'm just going to break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. So the fight is in the books as still the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. Josh Taylor has retained all his titles and Jack Catterall has taken the L. This fight was very strange to me because Taylor, he has been out the ring for a little bit of time and he was getting exposed in this fight very badly. And Jack Catterall, I had Jack Catterall winning 5 rounds to nothing. I also had him winning up 6 rounds to nothing. And you got these people like ESPN, Andre Ward gave Jack Catterall, actually favored Josh Taylor 3-1 of the first 4 rounds. And I had Jack Catterall winning the first 4 rounds. And Jack Catterall was clearly outboxing him. But I have to blame his strength and conditioning coach because he looked at trash. Like his strength and conditioning, he started gassing in the 8th. He was looking good all the way up to the 8th round. In the 9th round, he started to gas out and so on and so forth. Taylor was just being the aggressor of the fight. And, Jack Catterall just couldn't do nothing. He was getting sloppy, throwing the jab sloppy, throwing the cross sloppy. He was landing the big left hand all night long. And he was keeping Taylor at bay with his jab, and he was frustrating Taylor, and Taylor was just wrestling all night, and Taylor wasn't even utilizing the jab. Taylor was feinting, and then he'll try to wrap up and go for the body. And in one of the rounds, I think in the 9th or 10th round, they took a point from Jack Catterall for absolutely doing nothing. I mean, Taylor had him in a net wrench, but they still deduct a point for Jack Catterall, and then Taylor did a cheap shot towards, I believe, the 11th round and hit him in the body mistakenly, and they took a point from Taylor, so it was an even matchup since then. But Jack Catterall was outboxing Taylor, you could say, for 8 rounds. And Taylor just, I'll say for 6 rounds to be fair. And I actually had it Jack Catterall a 7-5 round because it was just, Taylor looked as sloppy. And I don't think people are going to say that Taylor didn't win this fight. This was a robbery. But towards the end of the fight, Taylor started to be the aggressor. Jack Catterall started to be very sloppy towards the 8th and championship rounds, 8th, 19th, 11th, 12th. And Taylor wasn't really doing that. He was feinting. He was landing good body shots, but half of his punches wasn't landing. And Jack Catterall, all he had to do was keep his composure and outbox Taylor, and he would have won the show. And if he didn't put it in, he had an opportunity to win the 10th, 11th, and 12th. But the judges wound up giving it to Taylor because, in my opinion, of the aggression of Taylor. So Taylor still keep his belts. And we're going to get to the point that Taylor was exposed in this fight, okay? I'm going to change my thought right now. I do not think Taylor beats Tank Davis. He doesn't beat Terrence Crawford. And he doesn't beat Spence Jr. Taylor was hurt in that fight. I believe Taylor was dropped in the 6th to 7th round. I believe I had seen the fight. He was dropped twice in the rounds. Jack Catterall, all he had to do was just let his hands go, and Taylor would have been out of there. Jack Catterall was very hesitant at some times, but he was putting on a boxing lesson. He was landing the left hand all night long. He was getting under Taylor jab. When Taylor was going to feint top, Jack Catterall was coming towards with his big left hand because they both were southpaw. So I don't know if Taylor struggled with southpaw and southpaw, but he was struggling very bad. This is a big problem for Josh Taylor. He does not beat Tank. I'm just going to say it off the rip. Tank stops Josh Taylor within 8 rounds. Josh Taylor was getting gas towards the end of the round. Josh Taylor, even though he has aggression, I think if Josh Taylor get caught with something big, he's going to go to sleep. If Tank lands a right uppercut, or a big left hook, he's going to sleep. Because Jack Catterall exposed a lot of things. He kept hurting him with the left hand. I remember this in round 1. Jack Catterall got under Josh Taylor's jab, hit him clean, and Josh Taylor was rocked. He went actually back to the ropes, and it was just exposed. I don't think he beats Terrence Crawford. He better stay at 140, because if he fights Terrence Crawford, I have Terrence Crawford doing Josh Taylor the same way as I have Terrence Crawford doing the same thing to Julian Zidongo when he would do to Josh Taylor. I think Terrence Crawford would catch Josh Taylor with something big, and he's going to get out of there. Errol Spence would destroy him in the body. Jack Catterall was landing good body shots that was hurting Taylor as well. And I just don't understand why he let off the gas. Obviously, his strength and conditioning wasn't good. Personally, I had Jack Catterall winning 7-5, but towards the end of the round, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, Taylor just started to beat and aggressive. Jack Catterall started to look sloppy and tired, and they wound up giving it to Taylor. But I'm just going to have to break this down another time. He better stay far away from Tank, from Spence, and from Crawford, especially from Jaron Ennis and Stanionis. Because if he fights one of those guys, he's either going to get stopped or knocked out. With that being said, this was my post-fight reaction to the fight, and I will be making another one with Gary Antoine Russell and Victor Postol. With that being said, Josh Taylor gets exposed by Jack Catterall, but he still wound up becoming still the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. With that being said, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.